Today we get to start working on our capstone project, and it can be a really rewarding process, but the SketchUp part or the drawing part can be frustrating for students. One of the things that I want to convey to you is simplify your design. One of the reasons we started drawing our own designs is that students would pick up projects from the internet, from woodworking magazines that were just way too difficult for them to be able to build. And so we'd get halfway through this project, they were in over their head and they got really frustrated and they spent some money on the wood. So we decided a couple of years ago to start drawing our own capstone projects. And it's okay if you're basing this design off of a picture that you've seen, or even you may have a set of whole plans for a project that you want to build. That's great. But I want you to be able to redraw it. And that's going to show me that you understand how it gets built. Because sometimes when we find plans, people have a huge amounts of time, or they have these crazy elaborate machine setups that we just don't have time to do because we get to work on it for an hour and then we're done. And that's just not feasible for us to have a setup that's going to take half a day to do. So as you start your capstone project, some things to keep in mind is, one, read the rubric. That's how everything's going to be graded. Whether you decide to do this on SketchUp or pencil and paper, that's fine. Either one of them is going to get you a grade. But if you do it on pencil and paper and I can't read it, you're not going to get very many points for it. If you don't have straight lines, you got to use a ruler. You got to use some tools. Make sure this thing is kind of to scale if you're doing it. That doesn't mean you have to have a scale ruler, but that means that you've got to use some common sense, and you got to be able to get some dimensions on here that I can read. You should be able to, at the end of this project, give it to me, and I should be able to build it without having to ask you any questions. That doesn't mean it's a huge project. That doesn't mean it's a small project. That doesn't mean it's a really intricate project or a really simple project. It just means that you need to be thorough in your designs. So read that rubric. And you're going to have to submit this through Canvas. So that means you're eventually going to have to get it digitally. I want you to be able to submit this in a Google form. A Google slideshow, like that video that I showed you when we were starting the practice for the capstone design, that it needs to be in a Google form and laid out. And if you can use Cutlist on this because you've got the downloaded version of SketchUp, all that better. Include that in your design. Otherwise, you're going to have to make a bill of materials, which will be an assignment on here anyhow. You're going to have to use that bill of materials. You're going to do all the calculations by hand, which is okay. It's not that big a deal. And to be honest with you, the Cutlist extension doesn't figure it the way that we want it to be figured. So the Cutlist is great at getting you the length and the width, but it messes up the thickness. So we won't be able to use that verbatim anyhow. Everybody's going to have to do a little bit of work to get us down to our bill of materials for this project anyhow. So if you get stuck, shoot me an email. It's really easy to do a Google Hangout or a quick Zoom meeting. I'm happy to jump on, look at your screen, show me your drawing, send me an email. I'm typically by my computer in the mornings. I try to work out here until noon, and then afternoon I go help my kids with their schoolwork, and my wife gets to do her own work that she takes the morning off, and I take the afternoon off. So I will answer emails quickly between 8 and noon, and then in the evenings I'll get to them as well. But during the afternoons, I am typically working with my kids, getting their schoolwork done. So let me know if you got questions. We can set something up with the Google Hangout, with the Zoom meeting. That way I can see your screen. You can show me what you work on. Don't get frustrated. Make it simple if you need to make it simple. Remember, if we go back to school this year, you're getting 3-4 weeks max to work on this, so you don't have a whole bunch of time to work. Anyhow, looking forward to seeing you guys whenever it is. Take care.